There's never been a better time for a company to show that they're a great company and can provide for their employees during a time of need. But there's also never been a better time for somebody who wants to stand out and create separation and get that next promotion or get that next opportunity than right now. There's never been a better time to show that you're a ride or die. There's never been a better time to show that you're a key point or that you're an essential part of the company than right now. And the example that was used for me was somebody who was my mentor in the business. He talked about it when I was just a sales rep in this market. It was probably like 5 or 6 years ago, and he ran a morning meeting for some of the sales reps in the office that I was working out of at the time. And he said, the harder the task, the easier it is to see who the best is. And everybody was kind of looking at him like, yeah, sure, I don't exactly know what you mean. And the example that he used is, he's like, if I lined up, and he lined up all the sales reps in the room, right? And because he was a visual guy, he was like, everybody line up against that wall, right? And he was like, now, if you weren't up against the wall right now and you were looking at everybody else on this wall, besides yourself, because I'm sure a lot of you guys would just bet on yourself, if you had to bet your house on who would win from racing from this wall to this wall, which is about 10 feet, right? It was like a narrow training room that he had in his office at the time. He was like, if you had to bet your house on who would win racing from this wall to this wall, which is about 10 feet, he was like, how confident would you feel in that bet? How nervous would you be?
Not very.
Not very confident, right? I'd be like, damn, I'm super nervous. Like, that person's obviously faster. Like, make it a 100-meter sprint. I'd feel, a little bit more confident, or I'd be able to at least start eliminating some people of who I thought, would win or not. I was like, but maybe that guy might be, kind of short and stocky, but maybe he's got a good start. Maybe, this person's going to dive. Like, man, anybody could win that race. It's so hard to figure out who would win that race or who would win that competition, right? He was like, now, what if I turned you guys all this way? And the Atmo room, or the training room, was probably like 50 feet long the other way. And I lined you guys up against that wall. And I said, you have to bet your house on who you think could make it from that wall to that wall the fastest with that refrigerator on their back. He had a refrigerator, in his training, like the kitchen area in his training room. And there was this big guy, and he was an ex-offensive lineman for Ferris State. Actually, it was my office in Grand Rapids, and he's probably like 6'7", 320 pounds, and everybody was like, we'd bet our money on Tyler. His name was Tyler, right? And so, like, we would obviously bet our money on Tyler. And he goes, see, that just goes to show why you don't stray away from tough times and why you don't stray away from tough challenges. He was like, obviously, you guys know it's cliche. Don't back down. You'll become a better version of yourself, right? Like every meme on Facebook, like every meme on the internet. He goes, but it's a fact. The harder the task, the easier it is to tell who the best is. He goes, you guys all immediately just pointed your fingers at Tyler. And there's not a single one of you guys are like, damn. Like, when I said that, you guys were like, oh, damn, I'm going to buy another house. Like, I could bet the house on Tyler, and now I'll just have, 2 houses, right? Same thing with math. When you were in first grade, it was really hard to tell who was the best at math because it was 1 + 1, 2 + 2, 3 + 3. Everybody aced that test. But by the time you made it to your senior year in high school, when you were doing trigonometry, there was those 2 girls, or the guy and the girl, or those 2 guys in the class that were brainiacs and going to U of M or going to Yale or going to Harvard. They aced every single test when everybody else was, hoping that they wouldn't, because they were ruining the curve. They were ruining the curve in the class. So, yes, I think that now more than ever, during a pandemic, during a time of crisis, during a time where a lot of people are hiding, if you're the person that's like, hey, if there's anything you need me to do, if there's anything that you need me to do, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that. If you need me to clean the office, if, you need somebody to shadow your interviews, if you need somebody to help with the recruiting process, whatever your company does, be solution oriented, be trying to find ways to stand out right now. Just like most people had the attitude of, oh, my business is just going to shut down. Our company had the attitude of, how do we become essential? Right? That was our company's attitude. Inside of your company right now, if you own a company, you need to be finding a way to become essential. But if you're inside of that company, you need to be finding a way to become even more essential, because there's going to be big opportunity after this whole crisis is over. And it's, are you going to be able to take advantage of that or not?
Yeah, I think that's important, because not everyone owns a company like you do. Most people are those worker bees, and they're being sent home. They're doing the Zoom calls instead of
Zoom calls. I fucking hate those.
They're doing those instead of their normal work, and they're it's just kind of a weird time. They're working in their jammies. They're doing whatever just to kind of get by. They're not going that extra mile because they don't have to.